Hello Artsy, today we are going to make 50 ml Alcopouch. This is a good project if you want to practice your color change and basic eye cord. Also, it's beginner friendly because we are just going to use single crochet, half double crochet, and back loops only. The materials that I'll be using for this tutorial are 2 color of choice of 5-ply milk cotton yarn, white yarn for embroidery, and then some scrap yarn for the eye cord, and then I am using 3.5mm hook, some accessories, and the lobster clasp is totally optional. I am using 50 ml spray bottle for this tutorial, and we're going to start with the base. So the base would require 3 rounds of half double crochet. We are going to start round 1 with 9 half double crochet in a magic circle, and we are going to end it with a slip stitch. So before the 9 half double crochet, we need to chain 1. We will not count this as a stitch, and then make 9 half double crochets inside the magic circle. If you're not yet familiar on making a magic circle, there's a separate tutorial for this step. You can check the link in the description box. And as I always recommend on my previous tutorials, we should always count our stitches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 before closing the magic circle. So here's how it looks like on round 1. Then we are going to end it with a slip stitch on top of the chain 1. For round 2, we are going to start with the chain 1 and then make 1 half double crochet on the same stitch where you made your slip stitch. And then for the next 8 stitches, we are going to increase. So increase means making 2 half double crochets on the same stitch. So go ahead and complete the increases, and then I will meet you when we need to close this round. So we are now down on the last stitch earlier, we just made 1 half double crochet. So to complete the 18 stitches, we still need to make 1 more half double crochet, which we will make on the bottom of the slip stitch from the previous round. So go ahead and make the half double crochet and then slip stitch on top of the chain. And that would be the end of your round 2. So make sure that our rounds always ends with a slip stitch, and our beginning rounds will always begin with a chain 1. So for round 3, we are going to chain 1 and then make 1 half double crochet on the same stitch, and then make an increase on the next stitch, and we are going to repeat this pattern of 1 half double crochet and then 1 increase on the next, so that by the end of this round we have a total of 27 stitches. So go ahead and complete the pattern for this round. pause this video if you need more time to complete round 3. So here we are down to the last 2 stitches. We are going to make the last increase. And then make a slip stitch on top of the chain. And this is the end of the base round. You can measure it on your bottle to check if you were able to make the correct size. Next is we are going to start with the base, and we are going to make it on single crochets. But before that, so I highly recommend that you tie the middle part of your magic circle before we start round 4. So for round 4, we make a chain 1, and we're going to single crochet around, but on back loops only. So normally when we do single crochet, we insert the hook on both stitches. Now we are going to insert the hook on the back stitch only. So that's the back loop only single crochet. For round 4, we are going to include the slip stitch. So that all in all, we will have 28 stitches. So you will notice that your work will slightly curve inwards. It's normal. It's what we are trying to achieve here, because we are already making the stitches for the body of your alcohol holder. Now for the next round, we are now going to make a color change. If you do need to add a stitch marker on your work so that you would be reminded where your round ends, go ahead and use a stitch marker. So for this round, we are going to crochet first in red and then make a color change to black. So feel free to put your stitch marker wherever you want it. If you want to put it on the chain 1 or on the slip stitch, as long as you are reminded on where you have ended your round. Okay, so for my case, I put my slip stitch on the chain 1, but you can also attach it on the slip stitch. So it's totally up to you on where you are comfortable on marking your rounds. Now we are going to make 5 single crochets in red. So you have to make your first single crochet on the stitch where you made your slip stitch. That's 1. Then go ahead and make the red single crochets, but on the 5th single crochet you need to make an incomplete single crochet, because we are going to pull through the yarn of the new color. For this case, we are using black. So for the 5th single crochet, we are going to finish the 5th single crochet with the black yarn. So go ahead and insert your black yarn, and then for color change, we are going to make this as crochet along, meaning we are going to include the other yarn as we crochet through the round. So to do that, you just have to put the red yarn at the back of the stitches so that it's not that much visible on the front of your stitch. So go ahead and make 4 single crochets in black and make sure the red is at the back. And then the 4th single crochet in black should be incomplete because we are going to pull the red yarn for the color change. So that's 1 single crochet, 2, 3, and then for the 4th one, okay, so the yarn is quite stubborn. So that's the 3rd single crochet. For the 4th one, we are going to make an incomplete single crochet, so you have 2 loops on your hook and then pull through the red for the color change, and then make the 19 single crochets in red to finish this round. So always remember that your non-working yarn should be in the back of your stitches and will be included as you make your single crochets. So go ahead and complete the rest of the 19 single crochets, and then I'll show you how to close round 5. Now we are down with the last stitch. So depending where you put your stitch marker, for my case I put it in the chain of 1. So for this case, so that we are still on 28 stitches, we need to skip the slip stitch and proceed to slip stitch on the top of your chain 1. So please make sure that you are not making a single crochet on the slip stitch, because if you do that, you would be adding your number of stitches, and your Alcopouch might tend to become more loose when you fit it on the body of the bottle. So make sure that you do not put a single crochet on the slip stitch from previous round, and then to close this round you just have to make a slip stitch. So I just made a single crochet there, but it should be a slip stitch on top of the first chain. So all in all, you should still have a total of 28 stitches for this round and the rest of the round for this Alcopouch. Now for the next round, we're going to continue with 4 single crochets in red. So make sure that the 4th single crochet is incomplete because we are going to pull through the new color. So that's how we do the color change. You always do the color change 1 stitch prior to where you would be needing the new color. So for this case, make an incomplete 4th single crochet and then pull through the black yarn, and then start making the 6th single crochet in black. So we are trying to make a curve of the black yarn for this round. Now since we are changing back to red, so please make sure that the 6th single crochet in black is incomplete, and then we are going to complete it with the red yarn. So now we're making the 6th single crochet in black. Drop your black yarn and then pull through the red yarn. There. So from time to time, if you made quite a loose stitch, you can tug your either your working yarn or your dropped yarn so that you could adjust the tension of your stitches. So go ahead and make the rest of the 18 single crochet and end this round with a slip stitch. So quick tip, sometimes we forget the drop yarn, for this case the black yarn, so please ensure that you always include that when you make the single crochets. And now we are again on the end of the round. Make sure that you are skipping the slip stitch and close this round on top of the first chain. You will notice that this slip stitch round are causing some bulky lines, vertical lines in your work. If you have any suggestion on how to make an invisible join on this part, so feel free to comment in the comment section. I would be very happy to accept quick tips from you guys. So go ahead and make the 3 single crochets in red. So that's 1, 2, and then the third would be incomplete because we are going to pull the black yarn there and make 8 single crochets in black. Make sure that the other color of the yarn is securely tucked behind your stitches so that it's not showing on your front crochet. So this color change technique is also called Tapestry Crochet. I just googled the pronunciation of the word tapestry, so I mentioned tapestry on my previous tutorial. Please forgive me, no one's perfect. Okay, so by this round, you can try to measure if your body, if the number of stitches on your body would fit your alcohol bottle, and you may opt to adjust the stitches if you feel that it's too loose or it's too tight. And then rounds 8 to 10 is one of my favorite rounds because you are going to make the same pattern on this 3 rows. So that would be 2 single crochets of red and then 10 single crochets of black and 16 single crochets around. So go ahead and continue with this pattern. And then our next round for 11 and 12, we are going to be decreasing the black single crochets. Then for 11 and 12, you just have to follow this pattern We are reducing now the black single crochets. And for round 13, again, one of my favorite rounds, it's single crochet around 28 stitches. The next two rounds are optional. You can skip this. I just want to do this on my Alcopouch because it gives us a more stiff edge. So for the next round, we are going to make a long single crochet. So a long single crochet is, instead of inserting your hook on the stitches of the previous round, we are going to insert our hook one stitch down. So we are going to make a long single crochet by inserting the hook one stitch down. Okay, so go ahead and make single crochet around, so that would be 28 stitches again using the long single crochet. So meaning we are going to insert our hook not on round 13 but on round 12. This optional edging would give you a more stiff edge, and it would also give you a texture on the top of your Alcopouch. So this is how it would look like at the end of the long single crochet round. And then you will notice that the edge seemed to be a bit loose compared to the bottle, because our bottle has a curve on the top. So to make it more fit on the bottle, we are going to make 28 slip stitches. So the slip stitches would actually make your long stitch round more firm, and it would somehow tighten your stitches. But make sure that this round you will not slip stitch too tight, because you might not be able to insert your spray bottle on your Alcopouch. So go ahead and make those slip stitches. You can try to measure your alcohol bottle from time to time if you are making the stitches too tight. And then after this round, we are now going to make our strap. So this is how it would look like after the long stitch. You would see that your edge actually have a bump there, and it's more firm versus our regular single crochet, and the slip stitch made your edge more fit to your bottle. So we are now going to make the strap. So by this part, congratulations, you are almost there. We are going to make the strap in I-cord, basic I-cord, so it would be super easy. So we will start with your scrap yarn, make a slip knot. It would be better if your scrap yarn is non-stretchable, so that your strap would be more firm. Because normally we hang this on our bags, right? So we will reinsert the scrap yarn on the same stitch where our red loop is, and then insert your hook on the red loop and the scrap yarn. Now for the basic I-cord, because it's very basic. So what we are going to do is that we are just going to wrap the scrap yarn into our hook. So wrap it like this. I already included the short tail so that we will not weave it. wrap it around your hook. Make sure it's same height with all the loops, and then pull through all the loops with your working yarn. Again, let's wrap it in the hook and then pull through all the loops. So we are just going to repeat this pattern until you have your desired length of your strap. Of course, if you have your own pattern for the strap, you can do that. For my case, I prefer the basic I-cord because it makes the cord more sturdy versus the other patterns, or versus regular single chains. So go ahead and make your basic I-cord depending on the length of the Alcopouch. Sometimes people would want it lanyard style because they want to hang it over their necks. But for this case, I will just make it a short one because this one is intended to be an Alcopouch which will be put in a bag. So here I am done with the basic I-cord. I made it around 15 centimeters. And we are now going to close this I-cord. So to fasten off, it's very easy. You just have to cut enough length of the yarn for the sewing later. And then pull through both the working yarn and the scrap yarn on your loop. And then give it a nice tug. So after you pull through, give it a nice tug. Then that's it. Your basic I-cord is now closed. So you just have to sew this on the other side. You can put a key ring or a lobster clasp, totally up to you. For me, I had put a lobster clasp so that it could be easily attached to any bag. So that's it. Hope you like it. Feel free to tag me on Instagram or Facebook if you're able to make this one. I hope you had fun on this tutorial. Feel free to comment on the comment section if you have other ideas on what you would like us to do on our next project. Also, I have a separate tutorial for a coaster of similar theme of this Korean drama. If you ever watched it, let me know also in the comment section what's your favorite episode. I mentioned mine in the tutorial for the surface crochet while I'm making the coaster, which is on the similar theme for this Alcopouch. Hope you like this one, and till our next video, remember, life is cool and so are you. Bye-bye!